This audiobook, The Forbidden Reality, is your key to piercing the veil of illusion. As you listen, you will awaken the dormant power of inner vision and see the hidden forces shaping your life. The universe whispers, now is the time to listen. The Forbidden Reality. Introduction. Across the silent corridors of eternity, the power to see beyond the veil of ordinary perception was cherished as a sacred art. The ancients knew that the eyes reveal only a fraction of existence, like peering at an endless sea through the narrow hollow of a reed. To touch the heart of truth, you must transcend the limits of fleshly sight and awaken the vision that pierces the very fabric of reality. This is the wisdom of the forbidden reality, a knowing that flows beyond the material world through the invisible strands that bind all creation. The universe does not speak to the eyes, but to the spirit that has learned to listen. Its secrets shimmer in silence, waiting for the one who dares to look within. You carry this hidden gift, an inner sight, ancient and luminous, slumbering like a seed beneath the frost of time. When you awaken it, the world reshapes itself before you. What once seemed like random chance reveals itself as the careful handwriting of destiny. Coincidence becomes orchestration. The ordinary becomes divine. At first, this vision arrives as a quiet certainty, a subtle pulse of knowing that defies logic. Trust it and it strengthens. Soon you will perceive the radiant web of energy that threads through every being and every thought. Ripples of intention will appear like light across the boundless sea, and you will witness how every action echoes through the cosmos. This is no tangled mysticism. It is your natural state. Consciousness unbound, perception set free. The ancient masters taught that true sight begins when you loosen your grip on what the eyes can capture and surrender to the vast ocean of awareness within. The path revealed in these chapters is the path of awakening. With patience and devotion, you will cross the threshold, pierce the veil, and step into the forbidden reality where extraordinary vision becomes your birthright. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Awakening of Inner Sight. Chapter 1. The Veil of Illusion. In a village among ancient hills, a young weaver named Hazel spent her days creating intricate tapestries that captured the world exactly as her eyes perceived it. Each thread matched the precise colors she observed. Every pattern mirrored nature's visible forms. Her works earned praise for their perfect reflection of reality. Yet something felt incomplete. One morning, as mist cloaked the village, a mysterious merchant arrived with fabrics unlike any Hazel had seen. Their colors seemed to shift and change, defying her attempt to match them. These were woven by those who see with the heart, the merchant whispered. Confused and frustrated, Hazel declined the strange materials, clinging to her familiar ways. Yet in the days that followed, her carefully crafted works began to appear hollow, like shadows of truth rather than truth itself. She realized her reliance on outer sight had limited her art's essence, its spirit, its life. Across the mountains lived a merchant named Clyde, who faced a similar awakening. Each season he chose his trade routes based on detailed maps and visible signs. But one autumn, despite clear skies and well-marked paths, an inexplicable urge compelled him to alter his usual course. The choice seemed foolish. The alternative path was longer, less traveled. Yet Clyde heeded this inner knowing. Days later, word arrived that a great storm had destroyed the traditional route along with its bridges and passages. His inner sight had guided him true, saving not just goods, but life itself. These stories speak to the power that lies beyond physical vision. When you rely solely on what your eyes report, you perceive only the surface of existence. Like Hazel's initial tapestries, such sight captures mere appearances while missing the deeper currents of truth. True vision emerges when you learn to trust the knowing that rises from within. This inner sight reveals the invisible threads that connect all things. The hidden patterns that guide life's flow, the truth beneath the veil of appearances. Ancient practice of inner sight. In a quiet space, light a single candle. Sit comfortably before it, allowing your eyes to rest gently upon the flame. Observe its dance for several minutes. Then slowly close your eyes. Notice the image that forms in your mind's eye. Do not grasp or strain. Simply watch as inner vision awakens. Practice this daily as twilight descends. When the boundary between outer and inner sight grows thin, let the flame guide you beyond surface, seeing into the realm of true vision. Chapter 2. The Lamp Within. In the bustling marketplace of Alexandria, Pearl rushed from temple to temple, consulting sages and scholars, seeking the path to deeper understanding. Her arms grew heavy with scrolls of wisdom. Yet her heart remained light and unsatisfied. Each new teaching seemed to point elsewhere, leading her in endless circles. You see, the truth Pearl sought already resided within her being, patiently waiting to be acknowledged. Like many before you, she searched the outer world for what could only be found in the inner sanctuary of her own spirit. The ancient masters speak of a divine lamp that burns eternally within each soul. This is not mere metaphor but the deepest reality of your existence. This inner light is the true organ of perception, more reliable than physical eyes, more knowing than rational thought. When you learn to tend this flame, to trust its gentle radiance, you discover a guidance system that never fails. Consider how a mother knows when her child is in distress, even from miles away, or how you sense when someone gazes upon you, though your back is turned. These are glimpses of your inner lamp at work, moments when its light briefly pierces the veil of ordinary awareness. In the quiet hills of Thessaly, a shepherd named Homer discovered this truth through necessity. Each evening as darkness descended, he had to lead his flock through treacherous mountain paths. At first he relied on torches and the stars above. But on nights when clouds obscured the heavens and wind extinguished his flame, Homer learned to trust a different kind of light. He discovered that by turning his attention inward, a subtle illumination arose that guided his steps more surely than any external light. This inner radiance revealed not just the path ahead, but the safest way to traverse it. His journey became not just a physical passage, but a communion with an ancient wisdom that flowed through his very being. This light within you never dims or wavers. Unlike the sun that sets or the moon that wanes, your inner lamp burns with unwavering constancy. It requires no fuel but your awareness, no tending but your trust. When you align with this inner light, decisions become clear. Paths open before you and life flows with natural grace. The same lamp that guided Homer through dark mountain passes awaits your recognition. It stands ready to illuminate your choices, reveal hidden truths, and guide you toward your highest destiny. Ancient practice of the inner lamp. Find a quiet moment and settle into stillness. Place your hand upon your chest, feeling the steady rhythm of your heart. Take 3 deep breaths, allowing each exhale to carry you deeper into awareness of your inner space. Then with quiet reverence, whisper these words of power. The lamp within me is lit. Let this truth resonate through your being. This simple practice repeated daily will strengthen your connection to the eternal flame of wisdom that burns within you. Chapter 3. The Forgotten Compass. In the heart of a sprawling city, Clara wandered through crowded streets, her spirit pulled in countless directions by the endless stream of voices around her. Each person she encountered offered different advice, different paths, different destinations. Some spoke of wealth, others of status, and still others of fleeting pleasures. The cacophony of their words drowned out the quiet whisper of truth within her heart. You too may recognize this feeling, the overwhelming sensation of being swept along by the currents of others' opinions and expectations. Yet within you burns a light far more trustworthy than these external voices. The inner vision serves as your eternal compass, pointing ever true to your authentic path. Unlike the shifting opinions of others or the changing winds of circumstance, this internal guidance system remains steadfast. It speaks in the language of certainty, not through words, but through an unmistakable knowing that resonates in the depths of your being. When the world grows loud and its voices compete for your attention, the way forward is not to strain hard or to hear them all, but to turn inward to the silence where wisdom dwells. Here in this sacred inner space, clarity emerges naturally like the first light of dawn dispersing shadows. In the quiet town of Vale, a merchant named Dudley faced a decision that would shape his future. His fellow traders urged him toward the eastern markets, where profits seemed assured. Yet something within him pointed westward, though no obvious opportunity awaited there. Despite the skepticism of his peers, Dudley chose to honor this inner prompting. As he journeyed west, each step seemed to align with an invisible plan. He encountered exactly the right people at precisely the right moments. Doors opened that he never knew existed. What appeared to others as mere coincidence revealed itself as the orchestration of a higher wisdom working through his inner sight. This compass within you never errs, never wavers in its indication of your true north. While maps can become outdated and the advice of others may be clouded by their own limitations, your inner vision sees with perfect clarity the path that belongs uniquely to you. The ancient practice of inner guidance. As each new day dawns, before the world's voices begin their clamor, take a moment of sacred silence. In these precious morning moments, turn your attention inward and simply ask, "Guide me today." Let these words float in the stillness of your being. Remain in this quiet space, allowing wisdom to arise naturally from within. This simple practice aligns you with the infallible compass of your inner vision, ensuring each step you take resonates with your truest path. Chapter 4. The Waters of Reflection. In a bustling marketplace, Elsie wandered among the stalls, her mind as cluttered as the crowded square. Though merchants called out their wares and vibrant fabrics swayed in the breeze, she felt disconnected from her inner voice. The more she struggled to find clarity, the more muddied her thoughts became. The ancient wisdom speaks of a universal truth. The eye of spirit, like a pool of water, reflects truth only when undisturbed. When waves of worry ripple across its surface, the reflection becomes distorted. Just as the moon's image breaks into 1,000 pieces on troubled waters, so too does inner vision scatter when the mind knows no peace. To see with clarity requires the patience of a mountain lake at dawn. The waters of consciousness must settle, allowing the silt of daily concerns to sink to the bottom. Only then can the mirror of inner sight reflect the truth of what lies above and below. This wisdom manifested in the life of Floyd, a merchant who faced a crucial decision about his trade routes. Rather than rushing to judgment or allowing anxiety to cloud his perception, he retreated to his garden each evening. There, beside his small pond, he would watch as the water gradually stilled after dropping a single pebble. As the ripples subsided, so too did his mental turbulence. One evening, in this state of tranquil reflection, the answer emerged with crystal clarity. The northern route, though seemingly more profitable, carried hidden dangers. His inner sight, now sharp and clear, guided him to choose the eastern path. This choice, born from stillness, later proved to be his salvation. When traders from the north returned with tales of bandits and treacherous passages, the universe speaks in whispers that can only be heard in silence. When the waters of the mind are disturbed by fear, doubt, or hurry, these subtle messages become lost in the noise. Yet when consciousness rests in stillness, truth rises naturally to the surface like a lotus breaking through clear waters. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you will remain undisturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Allow your breath to become gentle and regular like soft waves lapping at a shore. As thoughts arise, observe them without attachment, watching them settle like silt to the bottom of a pond. Remain in this stillness for several minutes, allowing truth to rise naturally to the surface of your consciousness. Practice this each morning before the world awakens, when the air itself holds the quality of peace. Chapter 5. The Twin Eyes. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, a young merchant named Irene prided herself on her keen physical sight. She could spot the finest silk from across the square and detect the smallest flaw in precious gems. What more could one need? She would say, counting her coins each evening. Yet despite her success, an emptiness lingered that she could not explain. Your perception extends far beyond the realm of physical sight. Within you lie two distinct forms of vision, the outer eyes that perceive the material world and the inner eyes that grasp the essence of truth. The outer eyes see objects, shapes, and surfaces. But the inner eyes perceive meaning, potential, and the invisible threads that weave through existence. Just as a pond requires stillness to reflect the sky above, your inner vision awakens in moments of quiet awareness. When the ripples of thought subside, a deeper seeing emerges, one that understands without analysis and knows without reasoning. This is the ancient wisdom that true sight arises from the marriage of outer perception and inner knowing. In a distant village lived a humble farmer named Horace, who tended his fields each day. One morning, while working his land, he felt an inexplicable urge to check the far corner of his property, a spot he rarely visited. Following this subtle prompt from within, he discovered a weakening in the fence that protected his livestock. Had he ignored this felt sight, his animals would have escaped that very night. This tale speaks to the wisdom that flows when both sets of eyes work in harmony. Horace's physical eyes could not have seen the distant fence, but his inner vision guided him precisely where he needed to go. This is not mere coincidence. It is the natural function of your complete perceptive abilities. You too possess this dual vision. The physical eyes show you the world as it appears, while your inner sight reveals the world as it truly is. When you learn to trust both, you begin to move through life with remarkable clarity and purpose. Before retiring each night, center yourself in stillness and speak these words. My inner eyes awaken to truth. Let this ancient practice activate both channels of your sight, aligning your perception with the deeper currents of wisdom that flow through existence. Chapter 6. The Whisper of Symbols. In the heart of an ancient city, Ruby walked the same path each morning, her eyes fixed straight ahead. She passed the same weathered stones, the same twisting vines, the same gathering birds, yet saw nothing of their message. The signs surrounded her like whispers in a forgotten tongue, but her outer sight registered only the surface of things. Within the depths of existence flows an eternal conversation. The universe speaks not in words but in symbols, patterns that dance at the edge of ordinary sight. These messages appear in the flight of birds, in the shape of clouds, in the fall of autumn leaves. They emerge in coincidences that seem too perfect to be random, in recurring numbers that catch your eye, in dreams that echo through your waking hours. The inner eye perceives this sacred language. It recognizes that nothing is truly random. Each moment carries meaning for those who have learned to see. When you open this deeper vision, the world transforms into a living text. Each experience a letter in an infinite message meant precisely for you. A merchant named Vernon had long sought guidance about changing his trade route. Day after day he noticed crimson feathers appearing in his path. First 1, then 3, then 7. While others stepped past without a glance, Vernon's inner sight awakened to their significance. Following their direction led him to a prosperous new marketplace he had never known existed. The feathers were not mere coincidence. They were symbols speaking directly to his inner questioning. This is the way of sacred signs. They answer what the heart asks before the mind forms the words. The universe constantly offers guidance through this subtle language, waiting for your inner eye to awaken and read its meaning. You live immersed in this river of symbols. Every significant moment arrives wrapped in signs that your inner vision can interpret. The key lies not in forcing meaning, but in allowing your deeper sight to recognize what already speaks to you. Trust the whispers that brush against your consciousness, the patterns that draw your attention, the symbols that appear in moments of wondering. When you attune your inner eye to this sacred language, guidance flows naturally into your awareness. The signs you seek have always been present. They await only your recognition. Like Vernon with his crimson feathers, you too can learn to read the messages written in the book of existence. Choose one symbol that catches your attention today. It might be a recurring animal, a particular shape in nature, or a pattern that seems to follow you. Pause in its presence and ask silently, what do you reveal? Let the answer arise not from thought, but from the knowing of your inner sight. In this practice, you open yourself to the ancient dialogue between your soul and the living symbols that surround you. Chapter 7. The Path of Insight. In a bustling marketplace, Agnes moved swiftly between stalls, making hasty choices based on first glances. Each decision sprang from surface impressions, lacking the depth that true sight requires. When selecting fabrics, she grabbed the first bright colors that caught her eye. When choosing fruits, she plucked whatever lay nearest. Her rushed judgments led to thin cloth that wore quickly and bitter fruit that spoiled before ripening. The wisdom of ages teaches that inner vision unfolds like a flower at dawn, not in sudden bursts, but in gentle degrees. Each petal opens in its own time, revealing deeper layers of truth. This sight cannot be rushed or forced, for its nature is to blossom in accordance with divine timing. When you stand before a choice, remember that first impressions serve the outer eye alone. The deeper sight requires stillness, a moment of quiet communion with the wisdom that dwells within. This pause is not delay but preparation, like the silence before music begins. A merchant named Ralph understood this truth. When offered partnership in a promising venture, he resisted the urge to leap at apparent opportunity. Instead, he allowed his inner sight to develop clarity, like morning mist dissolving in sunlight. For 3 days he sat with the decision, neither grasping nor refusing. In this space of patience, his vision cleared. He noticed subtle patterns in the proposal that his hasty judgment would have missed. The timing aligned perfectly with market cycles he had observed. The partnership offered growth that matched his natural rhythms. By allowing his inner sight to mature, Ralph found himself moving in harmony with life's flow rather than forcing his way against it. Your inner vision operates on nature's schedule, not the world's hurried pace. Like a master painter who knows when to pause and study their canvas, you must grant yourself moments of reflection. In these spaces between action, wisdom ripens. What seems urgent to the outer eye often reveals its true nature only to the patient gaze of inner sight. This sacred sight develops through practice and respect for its natural rhythm. Each time you resist the urge to rush, you strengthen your connection to this deeper way of seeing. The universe's messages become clearer, not through effort, but through allowing them space to emerge. Take 5 conscious breaths before making any choice, inviting your inner sight to speak in this brief sanctuary of stillness. Allow your deeper wisdom to surface naturally. This simple practice aligns you with the unhurried rhythm of true vision, where clarity comes not from speed but from sacred patience. Chapter 8. The Inner Mirror. In an ancient marketplace, Sati stood among the merchants, her heart heavy with judgment. Each passerby became a target of her critical gaze. The wealthy trader's extravagant robes, the humble potter's dusty hands, the young apprentice's clumsy movements. With each assessment, a shadow fell across her sight, dimming the world around her. The wisdom of ages whispers this truth. Your perception of the outer world mirrors the state of your inner realm. Like a lake reflecting the sky above, your consciousness projects its condition onto everything you behold. When your heart harbors judgment, your vision becomes clouded as though looking through a glass darkened by your own thoughts. This universal law operates with perfect precision. What you see in others exists first within yourself. The flaws you perceive, the imperfections you note, the failures you observe, all are reflections of your own inner landscape. To see clearly, one must first clear the mirror within. In a distant village, Stuart walked this same path of understanding. Each day he found fault in his neighbors, their choices, their ways, their very being. Yet, as his criticism grew, so did his confusion. Life seemed increasingly unclear. Opportunities blurred, and wisdom remained elusive. One morning, while watching children play in the village square, something shifted within him. As he observed their joy without judgment, their laughter free from his analysis, a veil lifted from his eyes. In that moment of pure acceptance, he glimpsed a world untainted by criticism. Each person before him transformed into a teacher. Each interaction became sacred. Each moment revealed its hidden gift. The truth emerges. Clarity of vision flows from purity of heart. When you release the habit of judgment, your inner sight strengthens. The world appears not as you wish it to be, but as it truly is, a magnificent tapestry of souls, each walking their destined path. Every shadow you perceive in others is but a call to examine your own heart. Every criticism that springs to your lips signals an opportunity for inner growth. The path to clear vision winds through the gateway of compassion. Ancient practice. When judgment arises, pause and ask, what within me clouds sight? Chapter 9. The Breath Key. In a bustling marketplace, Lucille sat amidst merchants and traders, seeking wisdom from an ancient mystic. Her mind raced with questions. Yet each time she attempted to quiet her thoughts, the noise of the world invaded her consciousness. "I cannot find the stillness," she whispered, her eyes downcast. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. When the mind churns like a stormy sea, the subtle messages of inner sight remain hidden beneath the waves. Yet within you lies a divine gift, the breath, a sacred bridge between the visible and invisible realms. Your breath holds the power to part the veils between worlds. With each inhalation, life force enters your being. With each exhalation, the mists of confusion dissolve. This rhythm, as old as creation itself, opens the gateway to deeper perception. In the mountains lived Norman, a shepherd who yearned to understand the mysterious patterns of his flock's behavior. Day after day he observed their movements. Yet understanding eluded him. One evening, exhausted from his efforts, he simply sat and breathed deeply, matching his breath to the wind sweeping across the hills. As his breathing slowed, something remarkable occurred. The random movements of his flock revealed their hidden order. He saw how they followed unseen currents of energy in the landscape, patterns invisible to his physical eyes, but clear to his awakened inner sight. Through conscious breath, Norman discovered what his striving had concealed. The sheep were not moving randomly. They danced with forces he could only perceive when his mind grew still. His breath became the key that unlocked this hidden dimension of understanding. This truth echoes across ages. Breath is the master key to vision. When you align with its natural rhythm, the doors of perception gently open. The ancient ones knew this secret. Before every act of divination, they would first establish the breath as their foundation. Your breath carries the power to dissolve the barriers between ordinary and extraordinary sight. It cleanses the lens of inner vision, allowing you to perceive what lies beneath the surface of life. Through conscious breathing, you attune to the subtle realms where true wisdom dwells. The practice of awakened sight. Find a quiet space and sit comfortably. Let your spine rise tall like a mountain yet remain relaxed. Begin by inhaling slowly through your nose, feeling the breath fill your belly. As you exhale, extend the breath longer than the inhalation. Continue this rhythm. Gentle inhale, extended exhale, allowing each breath to carry you deeper into stillness. Behind your closed eyelids, notice what begins to emerge in your inner vision. Trust what appears, for these are the first glimpses through the eyes of your soul. Chapter 10. The Hidden Door. In the quiet foothills of a mountain village, there lived a woman named Effie who spent her days searching the horizon, feeling an inexplicable emptiness within. Though surrounded by beauty, she sensed something vital remained hidden from view just beyond her reach. The ancient wisdom speaks of a sacred doorway that exists within every soul. This gateway lies not in the physical realm, but in the subtle dimensions of consciousness itself. Like a threshold between two worlds, it stands ready to open for those who understand its nature. Through this inner door flows all wisdom, all knowing, all truth. Yet many pass their entire lives unaware of its existence, searching outside themselves for what can only be found within. The inner eye is this door, not a physical organ, but a center of perception that transcends ordinary sight. To activate this dormant faculty requires more than mere thinking or wishing. The inner eye awakens through the practice of conscious presence through moments of pure awareness unmarred by thought. When the mind grows still, when breath becomes subtle, this door begins to open of its own accord. Consider the tale of Walter, a simple merchant who discovered this truth. Each morning before dawn, Walter would sit in silence, turning his attention inward rather than outward. At first he encountered only darkness and doubt. But as days turned to weeks, something shifted within him. The door of inner perception began to crack open. One morning, as Walter sat in his usual meditation, insights began flowing into his awareness like a stream of pure light. Solutions to long-standing problems appeared with perfect clarity. Opportunities he had overlooked suddenly became visible. Most remarkably, he gained an intuitive understanding of people and situations that transformed his business and relationships. What changed was not the world around Walter, but his capacity to perceive it. By regularly crossing the threshold of that inner door, he learned to see with the eye of spirit rather than just the eye of flesh. This expanded vision revealed layers of reality that had always existed but remained hidden from ordinary sight. This ancient door stands ready within you now. It requires no special talent or background to open, only the willingness to turn inward with patience and trust. The same force that causes flowers to bloom and stars to shine will guide your inner eye to open when you create the proper conditions through stillness and presence. The door may open gradually or suddenly, but it opens most readily in the silence between thoughts. This is why the wise ones of all traditions emphasize the importance of meditation and inner quiet. In that sacred stillness, the eye of spirit naturally awakens to its own innate capacity for clear seeing. As a practice passed down through generations, close your eyes. Imagine a door opening and step inward in peace. Part 2. The expansion into deeper realities. Chapter 11. The vision of energy. In a bustling marketplace, Mabel moved through the crowds, feeling overwhelmed and disconnected. Though faces and forms surrounded her, she remained blind to the subtle energies pulsing through every living thing. Like many, she saw only surfaces, missing the luminous reality that dances beneath all appearance. The ancient masters taught that everything alive radiates an energy field, a living aura that speaks volumes about its true nature. This field exists beyond physical sight, yet remains accessible to those who awaken their inner vision. What appears solid to ordinary perception reveals itself as flowing light to the awakened eye. This energy field manifests as a subtle radiance, a living light that surrounds all beings. It shifts and changes with emotional states, thoughts, and levels of vitality. The inner eye perceives these variations naturally, reading the truth of what lies before it without need for words or explanation. Consider Clyde, a humble gardener who discovered this truth while tending his plants. At first, he noticed only a faint shimmer around the leaves and flowers, but as his inner vision developed, he began perceiving the distinct energy fields of people as well. Each person carried their own unique signature of light, some bright and expansive, others contracted or dim. This new perception transformed Clyde's understanding of human nature. He saw how joy created brilliant expansions in the energy field while fear caused it to contract. He noticed how some people's energy naturally uplifted others, while some seemed to drain the life force from a room. Without words being spoken, he could read the emotional truth of those around him through their luminous signatures. This ability to perceive energy fields lies dormant within all humans. It requires no special gift, only the willingness to expand perception beyond physical form. The same way your eyes naturally adjust to darkness, your inner vision naturally attunes to subtle energy when given the chance to develop. This sight begins with simple awareness. Everything alive pulses with an energy that extends beyond its physical boundaries. Trees, plants, animals, and humans all exist within their own fields of living light. These fields interact constantly, influencing each other in ways that ordinary vision cannot detect. Through the inner eye, you discover that no living thing exists in isolation. Each being participates in a vast web of energetic exchange. What appears as empty space to physical eyes reveals itself as a medium of living light connecting all things in a dance of continuous interaction. Rest the gaze softly on a tree and imagine its energy field touching yours. Chapter 12. The Third Flame. In a quiet temple, Bessie knelt each morning in fervent prayer, her heart yearning for divine vision. Day after day she bowed her head, pleading for insight, yet feeling no closer to enlightenment. Her prayers seemed to echo in an empty chamber, returning to her unchanged. Like many seekers before her, she missed the essential truth. That vision awakens not through pleading but through the patient cultivation of inner sight. The ancient scrolls speak of a sacred flame that dwells between the brows, the seat of inner vision. This flame, known to mystics throughout the ages, remains dormant until awakened by conscious attention. Just as a physical flame requires air and tending to grow strong, so too does the eye of inner sight need regular nurturing to illuminate the depths of consciousness. This flame responds not to desperate appeals, but to steady, gentle focus. Each moment of attention fans its ethereal light, gradually transforming latent potential into living power. The masters of old understood that this awakening follows natural law, the law of patient cultivation. Orville discovered this truth through daily practice. Each morning and evening he would sit in silence, bringing his awareness to the point between his brows. At first he noticed nothing but darkness and doubt. Yet he persisted, maintaining gentle focus on this sacred center. Days turned to weeks, and slowly something shifted. He began to sense a subtle warmth, a gentle pressure in that spot. As he continued his practice, this sensation grew more distinct. Sometimes he perceived a soft glow, as if a candle flickered in a distant room. His awareness expanded naturally without force or strain. The inner flame, once barely a spark, grew steadier and brighter with each session of devoted attention. Through this discipline, Orville's perception transformed. Colors appeared more vivid, insights arose spontaneously, and he began to sense the subtle energies around him. The flame of inner vision, carefully tended, had begun to illuminate his world in ways he never imagined possible. This ancient practice reveals a fundamental truth. Inner sight develops through consistent nurturing. Like a gardener tending a delicate seedling, you must give regular attention to this sacred center of vision. The flame responds to gentle, persistent focus, never to force or demand. The space between your brows holds this dormant power. It awaits your recognition, your patient attention. Through steady practice, you fan the flames of inner sight, transforming potential into living reality. Hold focus gently between the brows, sensing warmth and light there. Chapter 13. The Bridge of Perception. In the bustling heart of a timeless marketplace, Dora walked among stalls laden with silks and spices, yet felt oddly disconnected. Though surrounded by earthly treasures, she yearned for something beyond, treating the spiritual and material as two separate realms, each sealed from the other. The universe speaks through unity, not division. What appears as two worlds, spirit and matter, are but different expressions of the same divine force. The inner eye serves as an ancient bridge between these seemingly separate shores, revealing their eternal dance of union. Through the mists of time, wisdom keepers have known that this sacred bridge exists within you. It is not built of stone or steel but of consciousness itself. When you stand upon this bridge, the material world shimmers with spiritual light and divine wisdom takes tangible form before your eyes. Milton discovered this truth one autumn morning. For years he had compartmentalized his life. Meditation was for spiritual growth while work dealt with practical matters. But as he began trusting his inner vision, the walls between worlds dissolved. He noticed how a chance encounter led to an important business connection, how an intuitive nudge guided him to exactly what he needed, how the physical world responded to his spiritual awareness. The more Milton walked this bridge of inner sight, the more he witnessed the seamless flow between spirit and matter. Birds would appear just as he thought of freedom. The perfect solution would arise as he contemplated a problem. What others called coincidence, he recognized as the natural harmony of a unified existence. Your inner vision reveals this unity that has always existed. Through it, you witness how thoughts shape circumstances, how prayers manifest as opportunities, how spiritual forces move through material channels. The bridge of inner sight shows you that all of life from the highest heavenly realm to the humblest grain of sand pulses with the same divine consciousness. This understanding transforms how you move through the world. No longer must you choose between being spiritual or practical, between heaven and earth. The bridge of inner vision allows you to walk in both realms simultaneously, seeing their perfect interplay. The practice. Find a quiet moment and stand with your feet firmly planted on the ground. Feel the earth supporting you as you raise your awareness to the infinite sky above. You are the living bridge between these realms. Softly whisper, I walk the bridge of vision, feeling yourself as the sacred connection between heaven and earth. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Silent Teacher. In ancient times, a wise woman named Hattie lived in a bustling marketplace. From dawn until dusk she collected every scrap of wisdom she could find, scrolls, teachings, and proclamations from passing sages. Her home overflowed with words of knowledge, yet something essential eluded her grasp. The more she read, the more confusion clouded her mind. The sacred truth lies beyond the realm of words. Inner vision speaks a language older than speech, more pure than written wisdom. It communicates through the whispers of intuition, through knowing that transcends explanation. When you fill your mind with endless words and theories, you create a barrier between yourself and this primordial wisdom. Just as a still lake reflects the stars with perfect clarity, a quiet mind becomes a mirror for truth. But throw stones of thought into those waters and the reflection shatters into ripples of confusion. The universe speaks most clearly in silence. Consider the tale of Elmer, a merchant who sought guidance about a vital trade journey. For days he consulted maps and questioned travelers, gathering countless opinions that left him more uncertain than before. One morning, exhausted by his search, he sat in his garden and allowed his mind to grow still. In that sacred silence, clear knowing arose within him, a wordless certainty about which path to take. Following this silent guidance led him to both safety and prosperity. Your inner vision awaits in the spaces between thoughts. When you quiet the endless chatter of the mind, wisdom flows naturally like water finding its course. No amount of accumulated knowledge can match the pure knowing that emerges from silence. The greatest seers throughout history understood this truth. Silence is not empty but full of answers. It is the bridge between your ordinary awareness and the vast wisdom of the universe. In silence, the veils between worlds grow thin, allowing inner sight to pierce through illusion to truth. Sacred practice. Spend 2 minutes today in silent stillness, inviting vision's voice. Let all words fade away as you open yourself to the wordless wisdom that dwells within. Your inner sight will speak when the waters of your mind grow still. Chapter 15, The Wellspring. In a distant valley, there lived a woman named Nora who yearned to develop her inner vision. Though she studied sacred texts and practiced meditation faithfully, a persistent fog seemed to cloud her spiritual sight. Each morning she would wake feeling more depleted, her connection to higher wisdom growing dimmer instead of brighter. The truth of inner sight flows from the wellspring of vitality within you. When your life force runs low, the lamp of inner vision flickers and fades. Just as a candle requires oil to illuminate the darkness, your spiritual sight depends on the radiant energy that sustains your being. Many seek to force their inner eye open through will alone, not understanding that vision requires vitality as its foundation. You cannot see clearly through eyes that are weary, nor perceive subtle truths when your spirit is drained. The ancients knew this secret, that the cultivation of life force must precede the awakening of higher sight. In the marketplace of a distant city lived a merchant named Lester who had lost his way. His business decisions grew uncertain as exhaustion clouded his inner knowing. For years, he had ignored the signals of his body, pushing through fatigue until he could no longer trust his intuition. One day, Lester encountered an old physician who shared a forgotten teaching. The eyes of the spirit draw their power from the waters of life within. Following this wisdom, Lester began to restore his depleted vitality. He rested deeply, nourished his body with pure food and water, and honored the natural rhythms of activity and renewal. As vitality returned to his being, so too did the clarity of his inner sight. The fog that had clouded his perception lifted, revealing once again the subtle currents of truth that had always guided his path. His decisions grew sure, aligned with both practical wisdom and spiritual insight. This teaches us that spiritual sight cannot be separated from the vital force that animates our being. When you feel blind to inner wisdom, look first to the state of your life force. Have you honored the temple of your body? Have you replenished the waters of your spirit? The universe has gifted you with an endless source of renewal. Pure water which carries the very essence of life. Water cleanses not only the body but refreshes the spirit, washing away the dust that dims your inner sight. It represents the flowing nature of vital force itself. Sacred practice. Refresh yourself with deep water, saying, "Life strengthens my sight." Chapter 16. The Shadow's Gift. In a small mountain village, there lived a woman named Opal who sought to cultivate her inner vision. Yet whenever darker thoughts or emotions arose within her, she would quickly push them away, believing that spiritual sight required only light and positivity. In her determination to maintain what she thought was purity, she created a division within herself that actually dimmed her inner sight. The path of true vision requires wholeness, not fragmentation. When you reject any aspect of your inner world, you build walls within your consciousness that block the flow of wisdom. The shadow is not your enemy. It holds treasures of insight waiting to be discovered by your accepting gaze. Those who have walked this path before you understood that inner sight grows stronger through integration, not rejection. Just as the physical eye needs both light and shadow to perceive depth, your spiritual vision requires the full spectrum of your being to see truth clearly. In the depths of an ancient forest lived a woodcutter named Calvin, who struggled with overwhelming fear. Each time fear arose, he would try to banish it through force of will. Yet this only made his inner vision more clouded. One night, as he sat beside his fire, he finally stopped fighting. Instead of pushing his fear away, he simply sat with it, allowing it to exist within the space of his awareness. As Calvin embraced what he had long rejected, something remarkable occurred. His fear, rather than overwhelming him, began to speak to him with surprising wisdom. It showed him which paths to avoid and which opportunities held true promise. What he had seen as his greatest weakness became a trusted advisor, enhancing rather than hindering his inner sight. This ancient truth reveals itself. When you welcome all parts of yourself, your vision expands naturally. The shadow contains not darkness alone but the seeds of deeper understanding. It is the soil from which wisdom grows, the depth that gives meaning to light. What you resist within yourself will always distort your perception. Each emotion, each thought, even those labeled as negative, carries its own intelligence. The inner eye sees clearly only when it embraces the entirety of your being, refusing to reject any aspect of your experience. Sacred practice in quiet. Say, "I welcome my shadow and release its wisdom." Chapter 17. The Circle of Knowing. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Flora struggled to maintain her inner sight. Her attention darted from one shiny object to another, like a butterfly, never settling on a single flower, though she yearned for deeper wisdom. Her scattered focus prevented her from seeing beyond the surface of things. The ancient ones knew a secret about vision that modern minds often forget. Wisdom moves not in straight lines but in spirals. Like the cycles of the moon, the turning of seasons, and the circular dance of stars, inner sight follows a sacred pattern of return. Each time you circle back to a truth, you perceive it at a deeper level. This eternal principle reveals itself in all of nature. The tree grows not in a straight line, but in rings, each circle marking a deeper rooting into Earth's wisdom. The waters flow not just forward, but in whirlpools, gathering power in their spinning. So too must your inner vision spiral inward, returning again and again to eternal truths. In a quiet valley lived a potter named Edgar, who discovered this mystery through his craft. Day after day he sat at his wheel, hands shaping clay as it spun. At first he saw only the repetitive nature of his work, the same motions, the same forms over and over. Yet as time passed, he noticed something profound. Each return to the wheel brought new understanding. The clay spoke to him differently, revealing secrets about tension and release, about patience and timing. His awareness deepened not through seeking new experiences, but through returning mindfully to the same center. The spiral of his attention moving ever inward through repeated practice opened his inner eye to truths he could not grasp in a single viewing. This wisdom whispers to you now. Do not scatter your sight seeking endless novelty. Instead, let your vision spiral inward like water drawing to its source. Return again and again to the fundamental truths. Each circle brings you closer to the center where the deepest seeing dwells. When you find yourself distracted by the world's countless diversions, remember that true vision comes not from gathering more, but from returning to less. Let your awareness spiral like a hawk riding thermal currents, each circle bringing you closer to the heart of what you seek. Sacred practice. Repeat silently. I return. I see. I return. I see. Chapter 18. The Flame of Trust. In a small village by the mountains lived Ruth, a weaver known for her intricate patterns. Each morning she would receive visions of beautiful designs to weave into her tapestries. Yet doubt crept into her mind like morning mist, causing her hands to hesitate and her threads to tangle. Though her inner sight showed her the path clearly, she questioned each step, unraveling the very patterns she was meant to create. The universe speaks through the language of inner vision as natural as breath itself. When you glimpse truth through your spiritual eye, it arrives complete and whole. Yet the mind trained in the ways of the material world often casts shadows of uncertainty upon these crystal clear insights. Like water flowing from a spring, inner vision moves with perfect precision until the vessel of trust develops cracks of doubt. Trust stands as the foundation upon which inner sight builds its temple. Without trust, even the clearest vision becomes distorted like sunlight scattered by rippled water. Your inner eye never lies. It cannot, for it draws directly from the wellspring of universal truth. What appears as error is merely the mind's interference, its insistence on questioning what the soul already knows with certainty. In the bustling marketplace of a distant city, Leonard, a merchant, felt an unexplainable urge to take a different route home. Though it meant walking away from his usual path, he honored the quiet nudge of his inner guidance. As he turned down an unfamiliar street, he encountered an old friend he hadn't seen in years, one who offered him a life-changing opportunity that would have otherwise passed him by. Through this simple act of trust, Leonard discovered that the universe orchestrates perfect alignments when we heed our inner sight. This mirrors an eternal truth. Inner vision flourishes in the soil of trust. Each time you honor your spiritual insights, you strengthen the bridge between intuition and manifestation. The universe responds to this trust by revealing ever deeper layers of truth like a flower gradually opening its petals to the morning sun. Your inner sight serves as a divine gift, a direct line to universal wisdom. It requires no external validation, no second opinions, no logical justification. When you receive insight through your spiritual eye, you touch the very fabric of truth itself. Trust becomes the key that unlocks this sacred connection, allowing wisdom to flow unimpeded from source to soul. The ancient practice passed down through generations of mystics remains simple yet powerful. Before sleep tonight, place your hand upon your heart and whisper the words, "I trust my vision and it trusts me." Let these words sink deeply into your being, creating a sacred bond between your consciousness and your inner sight. This affirmation serves as both a declaration and an invitation, a commitment to honor the wisdom that flows through you and a call for deeper revelation. Chapter 19. The Garden Beyond Sight. In the heart of an ancient valley, many wandered through fields and forests, searching for something she could not name. Though surrounded by natural splendor, she felt blind to the deeper mysteries that whispered on the wind. Each morning she gazed at the same trees, the same flowers, yet sensed an unseen world just beyond her reach. The universe holds layers within layers, dimensions that unfold like petals of an infinite flower. Your physical eyes capture but a fraction of what exists. Through the ages, mystics and sages have spoken of realms that shimmer beneath the surface of ordinary perception. Realms as real as the ground beneath your feet. When you cultivate inner vision, the world transforms into a living tapestry of light and meaning. What once appeared as simple grass becomes a dance of energy. Trees reveal their songs, stones pulse with ancient wisdom, and flowers broadcast their healing frequencies into the air. This is not imagination, it is the blossoming of true sight. In a distant monastery, Wallace discovered this truth. Each dawn he sat in the garden, breathing slowly, allowing his awareness to settle like morning dew. Days passed without change, yet he persisted. Then one morning, as sunlight touched the roses, his perception shifted. The garden came alive with currents of golden light. Each plant radiated its unique signature. Butterflies left trails of rainbow essence in their wake. The very air sparkled with life force. Wallace had not learned to see something new. He had awakened to what was always present. The garden had not changed. His vision had expanded to embrace its fuller reality. Through patient practice, he discovered that the physical world rests upon an ocean of living energy accessible to those who learn to perceive with the heart's eye. This truth awaits your recognition. The invisible realms are not distant. They interpenetrate every moment, every breath. Like Wallace, you can train your inner sight to perceive these dimensions. Begin by releasing your assumptions about what is possible. Let your vision soften and expand beyond its usual boundaries. Practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply and imagine stepping through a golden archway into a luminous garden within. Feel the living energy touching your skin. Notice the colors that exist beyond color. The music of growing things. The light that flows like water. Walk slowly through this inner landscape, knowing it is as real as any outer garden. Let this sacred space teach you to see with new eyes. Chapter 20. The Eye of the Heart. In the bustling marketplace, Ethel analyzed everything she encountered. With keen intellect, she dissected each situation, believing her sharp mind would reveal all mysteries. Yet, despite her mental prowess, true understanding eluded her. She gathered facts like precious gems, but missed the golden light that connected them. The ancient wisdom speaks of two chambers of sight within you. The mind sees patterns, plans, and possibilities. But this vision remains incomplete. It is the heart that perceives the deeper currents of life, the sacred threads that weave all things together. When you rely solely on mental sight, you perceive only shadows of truth. Like a flower opening to sunlight, inner vision blossoms through the warmth of the heart. This is not mere sentiment. It is a profound shift in consciousness that transforms how you perceive reality. The heart does not abandon reason. Rather, it elevates it, infusing thought with the light of understanding. Gordon discovered this truth during his years as a merchant. Each day he calculated profits and assessed ventures with precise logic. But one morning, watching a mother comfort her crying child, something shifted within him. Compassion stirred in his chest, and suddenly the marketplace appeared transformed. He saw not just transactions, but the hopes and struggles of each person. The web of relationships between buyer and seller became visible. Even the goods themselves carried stories of the hands that crafted them. This awakening did not diminish Gordon's practical wisdom. It enhanced it. His decisions grew wiser, guided by both clear thought and deep understanding. He realized that true sight emerges when mind and heart work as one. The mind discerns details but the heart reveals meaning. The mind observes actions but the heart perceives intentions. The mind sees separate forms but the heart recognizes unity. This sacred marriage of mind and heart awaits within you. Your analytical abilities serve an important purpose but they represent only half of your perceptive power. When you allow your heart to awaken, vision expands beyond the boundaries of thought. You begin to see, not just with clarity, but with wisdom. Practice. Place your hand upon your heart. Breathe gently, imagining light flowing into this sacred center. Then whisper softly, "Heart, show me true sight." Let this practice bridge the gap between mental knowing and heart wisdom. Part 3. The Mastery of Vision Beyond Reality. Chapter 21. The River of Dreams. Through the ages, many have turned away from the whispers that come in darkness. So it was with Goldie, who cast aside her nightly visions as mere phantoms, meaningless shadows dancing across sleep's canvas. Each morning she brushed away the remnants of these sacred messages, never pausing to recognize their worth. The wisdom keepers of old understood a truth that modern minds have forgotten. Dreams are not random imaginings, but rivers of vision flowing from the infinite into the finite world. In the space between sleeping and waking, the veil between worlds grows thin. Here, messages from the divine slip through more easily than in daylight hours. When you close your eyes at night, you enter this ancient stream of knowing. The images that appear, though sometimes strange to waking minds, carry fragments of truth wrapped in the language of symbols. Each dream is a letter from the universe, written in a code that your soul understands, even if your mind does not yet comprehend. These nocturnal waters have guided seekers throughout time. The Temple of Dreams in ancient Egypt stood as testament to this truth. A place where those who understood would sleep to receive divine guidance. The indigenous shamans of countless traditions have long known that dreams bridge the visible and invisible worlds. Vernon discovered this wisdom through necessity. For months he struggled with a decision that logic alone could not resolve. Then one night in dreams he found himself walking through a garden where every flower held a face he knew. Some bloomed brilliantly while others wilted in shadow. Upon waking he understood. The garden showed him how his choice would affect those around him. This vision offered clarity that daylight reasoning had failed to provide. Night after night, Vernon began paying attention to these sacred waters of wisdom. He kept a white journal by his bedside, recording each dream with reverence. Gradually, patterns emerged. He noticed how certain symbols appeared before important events. How figures in his dreams offered guidance that proved profound in waking life. The ancient teachings reveal that dreams extend beyond the boundaries of ordinary perception. They are rivers flowing from the forbidden realms, those spaces of reality that physical eyes cannot perceive. In dreams, you touch these realms directly, receiving wisdom that transcends the limitations of conscious thought. These night visions arise from the same source as your inner sight. They are another channel through which the universe speaks, another way the hidden becomes known. When you honor your dreams, you open yourself to a deeper current of understanding that flows beneath the surface of daily life. Practice. Keep a white notebook beside your bed. Each morning before rising, record one dream as sacred text. Write without judgment, treating each image and symbol as a message worthy of reverence. If no dream is remembered, simply note the quality of your sleep. Through this practice, you will gradually attune yourself to the river of night wisdom that flows through all beings. Chapter 22. The Open Sky. In an ancient mountain village, there lived a woman named Lula who measured her world in careful steps. Each morning she drew lines in the dirt marking where she could and could not go. She believed safety lay in limitation, comfort in constraint. Yet something within her yearned to break free from these self-imposed boundaries. The wisdom of ages speaks of a truth you must now understand. Inner vision knows no bounds. Like water flowing endlessly or wind sweeping across vast plains, your inner sight extends beyond all perceived limitations. What appears as boundary to physical eyes exists only as illusion to the awakened spirit. Just as the universe expands eternally, so too does the power of your inner vision. This sacred knowledge has been passed through generations that those who release their mental constraints discover sight that spans infinity. The physical eye may see walls, but the inner eye perceives the endless expanse beyond. There once was a humble farmer named Byron who felt trapped by life's seeming limitations. Each dawn he would climb to the highest point of his land and sit in stillness, gazing at the vast sky above. Day after day, he allowed his inner vision to merge with that endless blue expanse. Gradually, Byron's awareness began to shift. The boundaries that once seemed so solid became transparent, then disappeared entirely. As his inner sight expanded, he perceived connections between all things. The dance of clouds, the song of wind, the pulse of earth beneath. His consciousness touched the infinite. And in that touching, he found clarity that transformed his entire existence. Through Byron's journey, you glimpse an essential truth. When you release the need for limits, your inner vision naturally expands to embrace the boundless. Like a bird soaring into endless sky, your awareness rises beyond all constraint. This timeless teaching reveals itself in your own experience. The limits you perceive exist first in thought before manifesting in circumstance. Yet just as thoughts can create boundaries, they hold equal power to dissolve them. Your inner vision awaits this liberation, ready to expand into the infinite. The ancient practice passed down through ages invites you to merge with boundless awareness. Find a moment of solitude beneath open sky. Let your gaze rest upon its vast expanse. As you breathe deeply, whisper these words of power. My vision expands like this sky. Feel the truth of this statement resonating through your being, dissolving all limitation. Chapter 23. The Lantern of Memory. A merchant named Daisy hurried through her days, casting off memories like autumn leaves. Each meaningful encounter, each moment of connection, each flash of insight. She let them drift away, focusing only on what lay ahead. Her mind stayed fixed on future gains while wisdom from her past whispered unheard. Yet the ancient teachings speak of memory as a sacred vessel holding drops of divine light. Each significant moment we experience carries a seed of illumination waiting to bloom when we need its guidance most. The past is not meant to be discarded, but rather honored as a treasury of wisdom that can illuminate our present path. Just as a flower contains within its seed the blueprint of its full glory, our memories hold patterns of truth waiting to unfold. When we revisit them with reverence, treating them not as mere history but as living wisdom, they become lanterns lighting our way forward. This truth revealed itself to Harvey, a potter who had lost his creative spark. For months he struggled, his works emerging lifeless and cold. One evening, while sorting through old photographs, he paused at an image of himself as a child, joyfully shaping clay by a stream. In that moment of remembrance, something stirred within him. Not just nostalgia, but a profound reminder of the pure creative spirit that had once flowed through him so naturally. That memory became his teacher. Each time he sat at his wheel, he would first recall the feeling of that sun-dappled afternoon, the cool clay between his fingers, the simple joy of creation without judgment. The memory was not just a picture of the past. It had transformed into a living spring of wisdom, teaching him anew how to approach his craft with innocence and wonder. His experience reveals the deeper truth. Memories are not static images frozen in time, but dynamic seeds of understanding that can bloom into fresh insight when properly tended. Each significant moment in your life holds a lesson that ripens precisely when you need its teaching most. The universe plants these seeds of wisdom throughout your journey, knowing that some will find fertile soil in future seasons of your life. What seems like a simple moment today may carry tomorrow's revelation. A chance encounter from years past might hold the very guidance you seek in this present hour. When you honor your memories, not dwelling in them, but allowing their light to shine into your present moment, you discover that the past becomes a constellation of lanterns. Each one ready to illuminate your path when darkness falls. Actionable practice. Sit in stillness and recall one vivid moment from your past. Allow it to arise naturally in your awareness. As this memory surfaces, ask quietly, what wisdom does this moment shine into my present? Let the answer emerge without forcing it, knowing that genuine insight often comes as a gentle whisper rather than a thunderous declaration. Chapter 24. The Inner Temple. In a bustling marketplace in a distant land, a young woman named June ran from stall to stall, touching every fabric, tasting every spice, listening to every merchant's call. Though her senses absorbed much, she understood little. Her scattered attention left her blind to the deeper currents of life flowing beneath the surface. The sacred teachings speak of attention as the foundation stones upon which inner vision is built. Like rays of sunlight scattered through clouds, dispersed awareness illuminates nothing clearly. Yet when these same rays are gathered through a lens, they ignite fire. So too does focused consciousness kindle the flame of true sight. Your inner vision grows stronger, not through gathering more, but through gathering deeply. Each moment of collected attention adds another stone to your temple of consciousness. This temple built slowly and with devotion becomes the sacred space where outer appearances transform into inner knowing. Chester, a young scribe, discovered this truth while learning his craft. For years he rushed through his writing, his letters uneven, his thoughts scattered across the page like windy blown leaves. One day an elder scribe taught him to focus entirely on drawing a single character, to pour his whole being into each stroke. At first this focused attention felt like imprisonment to Chester. His mind yearned to race ahead, to finish quickly and move on. But as he practiced gathering his awareness into each moment, each stroke, something remarkable began to unfold. Not only did his writing transform into flowing art, but his perception deepened. He began to see patterns in nature he had never noticed before. The way light played on water revealed secrets. The dance of leaves in wind spoke messages. By learning to focus his outer attention, his inner sight had awakened. This same principle guides the development of your inner vision. When you scatter your energy in many directions, pursuing every thought, chasing every sensation, your power of perception remains dim. But when you gather your awareness, when you build your temple of attention stone by stone, your inner sight grows strong enough to pierce the veils of illusion. The universe responds to focused consciousness. Like a lens gathering light, your collected awareness draws forth insights that scattered attention cannot perceive. Each moment of sustained focus adds another column to your inner temple, creating a sacred space where true vision can dwell. Actionable practice. Each day, take time to enter your inner temple of sight. Close your eyes and imagine yourself walking up ancient stone steps, passing through tall pillars, and entering a space of pure awareness. Let the scattered energies of your mind gather here like streams flowing into a still pool. Rest in this temple of focus, allowing your inner sight to awaken in its sacred silence. Chapter 25. The Song of Spirit. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Oilia rushed through her days, eyes darting from stall to stall, seeking wisdom in scrolls and artifacts. Though surrounded by merchants calling their wares, she remained deaf to the subtle melodies that sang beneath the surface of existence. Her quest for understanding led only to confusion, for she sought with her outer senses what could only be found within. The ancient ones knew a truth now forgotten, that inner vision dances with sound, that the eye of spirit hears as clearly as it sees. This sacred knowledge whispers that true sight embraces all senses, merging them into one river of pure knowing. When you open yourself to this truth, the universe's song becomes visible and its light becomes audible. Amos discovered this truth while sitting beneath an old olive tree. As the wind stirred the leaves, he closed his physical eyes and allowed his inner awareness to expand. In that moment, something extraordinary occurred. He began to perceive the world's vibration not just as sound, but as patterns of light and meaning. The rustling leaves painted pictures in his consciousness, and the bird songs revealed pathways of understanding that his eyes alone had never glimpsed. The more he practiced this art of listening, seeing, the more the boundaries between his senses dissolved. Colors had voices, silence held shape, and wisdom flowed through both sound and sight as one unified stream. His inner vision grew stronger because he learned to attune himself to the music of the spheres, the eternal symphony that orchestrates all of creation. This teaches us that inner sight is not limited to visual perception. It is a complete awakening of consciousness that transcends the separation of the senses. When you allow yourself to hear with your inner eye and see with your inner ear, you access a dimension of understanding that exists beyond ordinary perception. Just as a crystal prism separates light into colors, your physical senses divide the one truth into seemingly separate streams of information. But inner vision reunites these streams, revealing the singular nature of all perception. This is why the wise ones of old spoke of hearing the light and seeing the sound. They understood that in the realm of spirit all senses flow as one. Practice. Close your eyes. Listen inward. Whisper, "I hear and I see." Chapter 26. The Hidden Mountain. In a small village, Martha carried water from the well each morning, feeling insignificant against life's vastness. Day after day she performed her duties, seeing herself as nothing more than a drop in the ocean of existence. Yet within her stirred an unnamed yearning, a whisper that spoke of something greater. The ancient teachings speak of a truth long hidden from those who measure worth by outer measures alone. Your inner vision, when awakened, reveals the magnificent scope of your being. Like a telescope that brings distant stars close, this sacred sight shows you the mountain of power that dwells within your spirit. What appears small to ordinary eyes becomes vast when viewed through awakened perception. The universe has planted within you a seed of its own infinite nature. Your body may occupy limited space, but your spirit extends beyond all boundaries. This is not mere fantasy. It is the foundational truth of existence. Claude, a humble carpenter, discovered this wisdom while sitting in his workshop one dawn. Instead of beginning his daily tasks, he closed his eyes and turned his attention inward. As his awareness deepened, something remarkable unfolded. The cramped confines of his physical form gave way to an expanding vista of light. Within this inner landscape rose a majestic mountain, its peak touching realms of pure possibility. In that moment he understood his true nature was not confined to flesh and bone but extended into the infinite. This revelation transformed every aspect of his life. Tasks that once seemed burdensome became opportunities to express the vastness he had discovered within. His presence grew more commanding, not through force, but through the natural authority that comes from knowing one's true dimension. The mountain you perceive within through inner sight is not metaphor. It is the actual measure of your spirit's scope. When you recognize this truth, limitations fall away like shadows at dawn. You begin to move through life with the quiet confidence of one who knows their real stature. Your physical form may appear modest, but inner vision reveals your true magnitude. You are vast enough to contain universes, strong enough to move mountains, and deep enough to hold oceans of wisdom. This knowing comes not through intellectual understanding, but through direct perception with the eye of spirit. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Close your eyes and turn your attention inward. Visualize a magnificent mountain rising from the depths of your being. See its base rooted in strength, its slopes ascending through clouds, its peak touching infinity. In your mind's eye, begin to climb this sacred mountain. With each step, feel yourself expanding, growing more majestic. Reach the summit and survey the limitless vista of your inner kingdom. Let this vision remind you of your true dimension. Chapter 27. The Eternal Flame. In a distant village, Sylvia clutched her grandmother's withered hand, watching life seemingly fade from the beloved face. Terror gripped her heart as she witnessed what appeared to be an ending. Like many before her, she saw only the surface of transition, missing the deeper truth that lay beneath the veil of mortality. The ancient wisdom teaches that death itself is but an illusion, a shifting of form rather than an ending. Those who develop inner vision pierce this veil, perceiving the continuous flow of life force that knows no cessation. Just as water transforms from liquid to vapor, yet remains essentially unchanged, so too does life persist beyond its visible manifestations. When you activate the eternal eye, that sacred center of timeless awareness, you begin to perceive beyond the temporary nature of forms. This vision reveals that nothing truly ends. It merely transforms. The physical eye may witness the setting sun, but the inner eye knows the sun never sets. It is the earth that turns. So too with life itself. In the mountains of the East lived Luther, who through years of inner cultivation had awakened this deeper sight. One morning, as he tended his garden, he witnessed a butterfly emerge from its chrysalis. In that moment, his inner vision opened fully, and he saw not merely the butterfly, but the continuous stream of life expressing itself through endless transformations. He perceived that nothing had been lost in the caterpillar's apparent death. It had simply evolved into a more expansive form of being. This truth extends beyond the cycle of nature. It touches the very essence of your own being. The inner eye reveals that you are not bound by time's apparent limitations. You exist as consciousness itself, and consciousness knows no death. It is the eternal witness to all transformations. When you learn to see with this timeless vision, fear dissolves into understanding. You recognize that the story of your life extends far beyond the chapter currently visible to physical sight. The inner eye perceives the unbroken thread of being that runs through all experiences, all forms, all apparent endings. Luther's realization transformed his entire relationship with existence. He no longer saw discrete beginnings and endings, but rather one continuous unfoldment of life expressing itself in infinite variations. This sight brought him profound peace, knowing that nothing precious is ever truly lost. It simply transforms into new expressions of the eternal. This same vision awaits your awakening. Through the inner eye, you will perceive that your essence remains untouched by time's passing parade. You are not merely observing eternity. You are eternity observing itself through the window of your awareness. In stillness, whisper, "I am eternal sight." Chapter 28. The Crown of Light. In a village among ancient hills lived a woman named Myrtle, who walked with downcast eyes, believing herself unworthy of the light that blessed others. Each morning she would gaze into her mirror and see only shadows where radiance should dwell. The truth lies not in surfaces, but in the depths of inner sight. When you learn to perceive with awakened vision, you discover a crown of light that has always adorned your being. This sacred illumination rests upon every soul, waiting to be acknowledged by the inner eye. In the marketplace of life, countless souls dim their light, unaware of their royal nature. Yet the universe has placed upon each being a crown of divine radiance, not earned but bestowed at the moment of creation. Your inner sight, when properly attuned, reveals this eternal coronation. Dean, a humble potter, discovered this truth one dawn while working at his wheel. As his hands shaped the clay, he ceased striving to become worthy and simply allowed himself to be. In that moment of acceptance, his inner vision awakened to behold the luminous crown he had always worn. The revelation transformed not only his sight but his entire being. His posture straightened, his movements became graceful, his work acquired new beauty. This transformation speaks to an eternal principle. True vision begins with recognizing your own light. When you perceive the crown of illumination that rests upon you, you naturally stand taller, speak with quiet authority, and move through life with dignified purpose. This is not pride but truth-seeing. The recognition of what has always been. The crown you wear is not visible to physical eyes. Yet it shapes the very fabric of your existence. It radiates with the light of 1,000 suns, declaring your divine heritage to those with eyes to see. This coronation requires no external ceremony. It is a private revelation between your soul and the infinite. To awaken to this truth, sit in quietude and allow your inner sight to open. Feel the weight of divine light resting upon your brow. This is not imagination but recognition, the remembering of what your soul has always known. Practice. Find a peaceful space and settle into stillness. Picture a circle of light above your head and rest in it. Chapter 29. The Eye of Unity. In a distant village, Leona walked among the crowds, yet felt utterly alone. Each morning she observed people pass like shadows, merchants at their stalls, children at play, elders sharing tales, all separate beings moving in their own spheres. Her eyes saw only boundaries where one thing ended and another began. The spaces between all things. Yet ancient wisdom teaches that these divisions exist only in the untrained eye. The inner sight when awakened dissolves these artificial borders. Like dewdrops reflecting the same sun, all beings mirror one unified consciousness. This truth lies waiting in the depths of your own awareness. The universe operates not as scattered fragments but as one living tapestry. Your thoughts, your breath, your very being interweaves with all that surrounds you. The air you breathe was once inside the trees. The water in your cells once flowed through clouds. The atoms in your body were forged in distant stars. Separation is the greatest illusion, one that inner vision dispels. In a neighboring town lived Chesterine, who discovered this truth through patient practice. One autumn morning, as she sat beneath an old oak tree, her inner eye slowly opened. The barriers between herself and the world began to fade. She perceived how the tree's roots connected to soil that nourished countless beings. She felt the wind that touched both leaf and skin. In that moment, she recognized that consciousness flowed through all things like water through countless streams, different channels, but the same essence. As her awareness expanded, Chesterine noticed how each person's joy or sorrow rippled through the fabric of life, touching all others. A child's laughter brightened the air itself. A stranger's kindness warmed the entire street. She saw that no action or thought existed in isolation. All flowed into the great river of shared experience. This revelation transformed her daily life. Where others saw barriers, she perceived bridges. Where they noticed differences, she recognized harmony. Her inner sight revealed the truth. We are not separate beings observing life, but life itself experiencing through countless forms. You too carry this capacity for unified vision. When you release the habit of separation, the world transforms before your inner eye. Every breath connects you to the atmosphere that embraces the planet. Every heartbeat pulses with the rhythm that moves through all living things. To awaken this truth within yourself, find a quiet moment. Close your physical eyes and open the eye of understanding. Let your awareness expand beyond the boundaries of flesh. Feel how your consciousness naturally extends into the space around you, touching all things, recognizing itself in every form. Whisper, all is one and I see it. Chapter 30. The Forbidden Reality. In the ancient village of Meridia lived Velma, a woman who spent her days searching for truth in fragments. She collected wisdom like broken pieces of pottery, hoping to assemble them into understanding. Yet wholeness eluded her until she encountered an old manuscript hidden beneath the roots of a sacred tree. The yellowed chapters spoke of a vision beyond the ordinary, a sight that pierces through the veils of separation. All things flow from one source, the manuscript whispered. The many are one, and the one manifests as many. For years, Velma had seen the world as separate pieces. This person, that tree, those stars. But as she practiced the forbidden technique of inner vision, the boundaries began to dissolve. She noticed how the breeze that stirred the leaves also moved the clouds, how the sunlight that warmed her skin also nourished the flowers, how the rhythm of her breath matched the pulse of life around her. Through sustained practice, her perception shifted. Where once stood walls, now flowed connections. Where separation had seemed real, unity emerged as the deeper truth. The forbidden technique revealed itself to see beyond the mind's divisions into the heart of reality itself. In the neighboring kingdom lived Arthur, a humble gardener who had mastered this sacred site. He tended his garden not as separate plants but as one living tapestry. When asked about his abundant harvests, he would smile and say, "I simply see the truth. Everything nurtures everything else." Arthur's vision had awakened fully. He perceived the invisible threads connecting all beings. In his presence, others felt a strange peace as though his sight somehow included them in a vast embrace. He moved through life with grace, each action flowing from his recognition of unity. The teaching speaks clear. The ultimate forbidden technique is not about gaining something new, but removing the veils that create artificial boundaries. When inner vision awakens fully, you perceive that everything exists in perfect unity. The separate self dissolves into the whole and action flows from wholeness rather than division. This sight reveals that what we call life is one vast seamless movement. The trees breathe out what we breathe in. The earth's body is our body. Thoughts ripple through the unified field of consciousness like waves on an infinite ocean. Through this technique, you discover that you are not a fragment seeking wholeness, but wholeness itself, temporarily dreaming of separation. The forbidden vision shows that division was always illusion, like waves thinking themselves separate from the ocean. Arthur's awakening demonstrates this truth. When inner sight fully opens, you recognize that you have always been what you sought. The search ends not in finding but in recognizing what was never lost. Sacred practice. Sit in quiet, whisper "I see all," and let it unfold. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In ancient times, there lived a woman named Velma who walked through life seeing only surfaces, shadows, and shapes. Like many before her, she believed reality consisted solely of what physical eyes could grasp. Yet deep within, a knowing stirred, a sense that more existed beyond the veil of ordinary sight. Day after day, Velma practiced the sacred techniques passed down through generations. She learned to still her mind, to breathe with intention, and to turn her awareness inward. Slowly, the walls of limited perception began to crumble. The truth reveals itself. Inner vision was never truly forbidden. It was simply waiting, like a seed beneath winter soil, for the right conditions to flourish. When Velma finally released her grip on what she thought she knew, her inner eyes opened to witness the living tapestry of existence. In this same tradition walked Arthur, a humble seeker who discovered that reality sparkled with an intelligence far beyond physical sight. Through patient practice and unwavering trust, he learned to perceive the threads of energy connecting all things. His world transformed from flat images into a symphony of light, meaning, and interconnection. The core teaching whispers, what seems forbidden is simply waiting to be remembered. The universe does not hide its mysteries out of spite, but offers them as gifts to those who develop eyes to see. Fear dims this vision. Doubt clouds it. Distraction scatters its focus. Yet when these veils lift, perception expands naturally like a flower opening to morning light. Through 30 stages of awakening, the truth becomes clear. Reality is not a solid, unchanging thing but a living, breathing presence. It pulses with meaning, sparkles with consciousness, and flows with purpose. Every moment carries significance. Every choice ripples through the fabric of existence. Every breath connects to the great dance of life. Inner vision reveals what physical eyes cannot: the luminous nature of being itself. In this expanded awareness, life's randomness dissolves into perfect pattern. Chaos transforms into cosmic order. Separation melts into unity. The forbidden reality stands revealed not as something alien or mystical, but as the natural state of clear seeing. This vision belongs to all who dare to look beyond appearances. It requires no special gift, only the courage to see truly and the patience to let perception deepen. Through simple practices, daily rituals, and steady attention, the eyes of the soul awaken to behold what has always been present. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life. Thanks for watching. For more updates, please like, share and subscribe to our channel.